$10 million in CPEP contracts for current and former PNM councillors. Two separate companies linked to San Fernando City Corporation councillor Nigel Coutier and former councillor Jennifer Marisho were awarded nearly $9.7 million Community-Based Environmental Protection and Enhancement Program, a CPEP, contracts under the People's National Movement government, an investigation by Guardian Media's investigative desk has revealed. Both councillors were elected as PNM candidates. This revelation follows Public Utilities Minister Barry Patterath's sharp criticism of the Dr. Keith Rowley-led administration, where he accused the former administration of using CPEP funds to bankroll PNM boys and girls. Patterath, the new line minister for CPEP, claimed some contractors were receiving as much as $40,000 to $50,000 in state funds monthly. Management told me ministers would call up in terms of who would become a CPEP contractor. There was no transparency in the process. Instead, it was used as a party system available for rewarding PNM boys and girls. Some CPEP contractors received, in many instances, in excess of 2 to 3 gangs. Patterath said in late June, after announcing the termination of more than 300 CPEP contracts. And out of 350 contracts that were awarded before the general election, over 275 of them functioned and operated out of PNM-held constituencies. Close to 75% of CPEP contracts awarded over the past 10 years operated out of PNM-held constituencies. At that time, Patterath also announced that a full audit was being conducted into the state company. As confirmed by the Registrar General Department's company registry, Kudos Cleaning Maintenance Company Limited shareholders are Monrepo, Navet councillor Nigel Coutier, and a close female relative. The name that is listed, however, is spelt Coutier, but the address for Nigel Coutier is listed as the same address as the female relative whose last name includes Coutier, the correct spelling. Additionally, two different companies, Nigel Coutier Promotions and Nigel Coutier Broadcasting Network Limited, have the same Marabella address that is listed for Kudos Cleaning. For both Nigel Coutier Promotions and Nigel Coutier Broadcasting Network Limited, Coutier is identified as a director and/or shareholder. According to documents obtained by Guardian Media's investigative desk, between February 2022 and March 2023, Coutier's company received 2 CPEP contracts worth approximately $3.7 million. The first was a 1-year contract between February 2022 and 2023. The second, a 6-year contract, was signed in March 2023 and was valid until February 2029. Kudos Cleaning also provided services to another state company, the Housing Development Corporation. As confirmed in a Ministry of Housing and Urban Planning document submitted in response to a report from the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee on the management and operations of the HDC, Kudos Cleaning was paid $118,542.20 between October 2022 and August 2023. Guardian Media's investigative desk was unable to determine if the company provided other services to HDC. Kudos Cleaning Maintenance Limited, the company owned by Councillor Coutier, was incorporated in February 2019. As of January 2025, Coutier was not listed as a company director but was listed as one of 2 shareholders. The other is a close female relative living at the same address. According to his LinkedIn profile, Coutier has worked as an engineer with Tucker Energy Services since 2013. He successfully entered politics in 2019 as a San Fernando councillor, having won the Monrepo Navet electoral district in that year's December local government elections. Coutier won the electoral district again in the August 2023 local government elections. The councillor's name was published by the Integrity Commission as having initially failed to file declarations of income, assets and liabilities and statements of registrable interests in 2021. In subsequent lists for 2021, 2022 and 2023, however, he seemed to have filed documentation, as his name was not published among those who did not. Guardian Media's investigative desk wrote to the Integrity Commission, seeking to find out, firstly, whether Coutier filed his integrity in public life documents, and secondly, whether he filed that he was an owner of Kudos Cleaning Maintenance Company Limited. Registrar Isha George acknowledged the request on Friday morning, stating the questions would be submitted to the Commission for review. The Commission, however, later declined to release the information, citing Section 21 of the Integrity in Public Life Act, Chapter 2201. Declarations filed with the Commission and the records of the Commission in respect of those declarations are secret and confidential and shall not be made public, except where a particular declaration or record is required to be produced for the purpose of or in connection with any court proceedings against or inquiry in respect of a declarant under the IPLA, the Perjury Act, the Prevention of Corruption Act, the Exchange Control Act, or the Commissions of Inquiry Act, the section states. The Integrity Commission mandates that individuals in public life must annually declare their income, assets, and liabilities. Guardian Media's investigative desk called, messaged, and emailed Coutier several times seeking comment. He did not respond. At the UNC's Monday night report on July 7th in Penal, Legal Affairs Minister Saddam Hossein addressed Kudos Cleaning as it related to CPEP contracts. There is one company called Kudos Cleaning Maintenance Company Limited. They were given the contract on March 1st, 2023, and the contract ends on March 1st, 2029. They get a 6-year contract. A person who has benefited in this company is one Nigel Wayne Coutier, he alleged. I wonder if this is the same PNM councillor in the San Fernando City Corporation. Is this a PNM councillor who was given a CPEP contract through his company? He asked. $6.7 million payout for former councillor. A second company, Marisho Maintenance Limited, was awarded 2 contracts valued at approximately $6.7 million between March 2020 and March 2023. The first contract was awarded for 3 years between March 2020 and 2023. It was then renewed for 6 years until March 2029. The legal agreements were signed despite the company being struck off from the company's registry, having not filed annual returns for many years. When a company is struck off the company's registry, it can no longer legally engage in business activities as it ceases to be a legal entity. In theory, this should also make it significantly more difficult for a company to receive state contracts. While a company that has been struck off the company's registry cannot legally operate or enter into contracts, gaps in due diligence may allow it to still receive state contracts unless the issue is flagged and addressed. As of January 2018, Marisho Maintenance listed its directors as the former San Fernando City Corporation councillor for Marabella West, Jennifer Marisho, and her daughter Jamila Marisho, St. Hill. Jennifer Marisho was the electoral district's councillor for a decade, while Jamila was the PNM's unsuccessful candidate for the district in the 2023 local government elections. Jennifer was also a former director at the Southwest Regional Health Authority. Jamila's profession was listed as a cosmetologist in company registry documents. Marisho Maintenance also received CPEP contracts under the PNM's Patrick Manning administration. In May 2011, as reported by the Trinidad Guardian, 60 CPEP workers from Marisho Maintenance were served with termination letters after the People's Partnership government came to power. In an interview then, Jennifer Marisho claimed she was not interested in another CPEP contract, but rather in her workers being placed on the breadline. On Monday, at the UNC's political meeting in Penal, the Legal Affairs Minister referred to Marisho Maintenance. It have a next company called Marisho Maintenance Limited. You all know Marisho, the San Fernando West posse. All you know who is that? Is that a PNM activist? Is Jamila Marisho a former PNM candidate? Well, I want to tell you, she get a contract too under her company. Her company got a contract in March 2023 and will expire on March 31st, 2029. This is what was happening at the CPEP company. Heads will roll. We are here to protect the public's interest, and we are protecting the public's interest. That is what we will do, he said. Guardian Media's investigative desk spoke with Marisho Maintenance Director Jamila Marisho, St. Hill, on Friday. She asked how we got her number and then said she had nothing to say on the matter, as that's just how politics goes. No conflict of interest, former chairman. Former CPEP chairman Joel Edwards, who oversaw the state company between 2023 and early 2025, believes there was no possible conflict of interest in a current or former city corporation councillor being awarded a CPEP contract. He said he was sure that any contracts awarded would have undergone proper procurement and bidding processes. I never paid attention to the names of the contractors or the owners of the companies. In any event, these contracts would have been awarded before my time at CPEP. The record will show that under my tenure, the number of contractors actually decreased. No new contractors were the mandate of the then Minister of Finance, he told Guardian Media on Friday. Last Sunday, Guardian Media's investigative desk revealed that CPEP audits have not been submitted to Parliament, as mandated, since 2014. However, Edwards said the company's audits for fiscal 2015 to 2017 were submitted to the Finance Ministry some time ago. The investigation also revealed that internal company audits had not been completed since fiscal 2017, leaving around $2.5 billion in government allocations fully unaccounted for. 2018 is currently being finalized by the auditors, 2019 is in the process of being audited, and the UNC MOF just recently gave approval for PKF to continue with 2020 to 2024, Edwards added. Opposition lawsuit. Last week, the opposition PNM filed a lawsuit and an injunction application on behalf of Eastman Enterprise Limited, a Laventille-based company whose CPEP contract was terminated. The lawsuit aims to prevent CPEP from replacing the more than 300 contractors who were fired, pending the outcome of the case. Eastman Enterprise initially signed a one-year contract in September 2018. The contract was renewed for a further 2 years and then another year before the parties entered into a new contract in October 2022. The following year, the company's contract was extended to September 2026. On April 23rd, days before the 2025 general election, the contract was modified and extended to September 2029. Eastman received a management fee ranging from $21,999 to $23,947 per month, while its 29 employees were paid directly by the state company. At a PNM media conference last week, opposition MP Marvin Gonzalez chastised the UNC for the comments some of its MPs had made about the 10,500 CPEP workers who were affected by the termination of contractors. These are the kind of callous and irresponsible statements that we are hearing from leaders in the government, describing hardworking citizens as ghost workers, and what the PNM is doing is defending ghost workers and what have you. I believe that is very unfortunate, Gonzalez said.